this video, I'll tell you about the sunk cost in tabletop wargaming and why it's a fallacy. Tabletop miniature wargaming is a wide hobby, and it's frankly always getting wider. There are so many different game systems to choose from, different model lines to choose from, different hobby product providers, paints, brushes, all that kind of stuff to choose from as well. And also, terrain companies, STL sculptors, battle mats of all different sizes and shapes, companies that make cases and carrying solutions, all of that stuff. And some people talk about how we're in a golden age of wargaming, and at least as things to buy are concerned, I suspect we are. I do believe so. We're truly spoiled for choice. However, with so many different things to access from in the wargaming space, I see some people that believe that you can only choose one game system or like one manufacturer, and then that's what you stick with. Sometimes these players are new to the hobby, but some of them aren't, and they've been in the wargaming hobby for a long time. This idea isn't inherently flawed, but sometimes the reasoning is. Let me explain. If you want to just play the one game, or just buy models from one company, or just buy paints from one manufacturer, there's no reason that you can't. It's your money and time that you're investing, and it's your hobby. Yes, you do understand that you're free to buy whatever you like, but you prefer to just focus on one thing, and that's totally fine. Keep doing your thing. However, you also understand that it doesn't have to be that way. I hear from a lot of people, both directly, like, at conventions and things like that, and through direct messages and such, and also in other places online, like in the comments on my videos, other people's videos, Discords, whatever. I hear from these folks that they can't play anything other than the game that they've already chosen because they've already spent their money, and time, obviously, also as well, which is also very important, on this one game. That's what they did. They've invested so much into this specific title, and usually the extensive line of models that go along with it as well, including, also the building and the painting of those models and all that jazz, that they would feel that they wasted that time and money by playing something else. To be clear, these are people who are interested in trying out other games, but they believe that they've invested so much time into the current game that they play that to try other stuff would somehow invalidate their current choices. Humans in general, right, are very touchy about our choices. I talked about this years ago in a video, as it relates to what we think about other people's choices as they compare to our own and all that stuff. But we also get very invested, some might say entrenched, in our own choices. And understand, the bigger companies in the wargaming space want you to believe this, that you shouldn't go and try other games outside of theirs, the one that you're currently playing, because, well, you've already spent so much money and time on our game and models and all that stuff. Why would you want to waste all of that and go start playing something else? Might as well stay here with our system and buy the next, 6 rule books that we're going to publish this month. And strangely enough, there's a name for that kind of reasoning. The definition of sunk cost fallacy is thus: the phenomenon whereby a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action because they have invested heavily in it, even when it is clear that abandonment would be more beneficial. This term is generally used when referring to financial decisions and things like that, although we do know that wargaming is certainly a financial decision. But it can also be used in all types of decisions, jobs, relationships, etc. However, there's an important word in that definition that we need to talk about, whereby a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action. This is what makes this fallacy something that we wargamers don't have to worry so much about. In most situations, what makes people not want to abandon their course of action is the loss of that prior investment, money, time, etc. And in wargaming, you don't have to lose that investment to try another game. Here's an example. Let's say that you've gotten into the hobby and collected a bunch of Warhammer models and rulebooks over the last few years. A lot of people have. You've been building and painting and reading lore, and things are pretty good, right? But maybe you're not enjoying the rules and the actual gameplay anymore. Or maybe you still enjoy the game just fine, but you sometimes want a more streamlined experience too. But you're stuck, right? I mean, you have all of this stuff and you don't have the time or the money or even the available effort to start a different game. You're locked into this ecosystem that you've sunk all of your cost into it. Well, I've got good news for you, folks. Wargaming as a hobby is actually incredibly modular. No matter what the bigger companies might be trying to tell you, you can very easily use the models and the lore and the rules and whatever you want with any other game or system. If you play Warhammer 40,000, for example, but you want easier rules and fewer books to buy and carry around and all that kind of stuff, you could use the same models you've already purchased and lovingly painted, and also even the same lore and all that kind of stuff in a game like Grimdark Future, an army-scale sci-fi rule set from one-page rules. You already have everything that you need, models, terrain, etc. You don't need to use, one-page rules models to play. You can use any kind of models. All you need is the rules PDF, which is like $5 and covers the entire game. Very little investment to play something else. I've talked about one-page rules last year at some point. Pachow, if you want to learn more. Maybe you're into fantasy and you play Age of Sigmar, but you're having a hard time finding people to game with in your area. And maybe you'd be interested in playing something that's a little bit more narrative and skirmishy. You can bring over your Warhammer models into a game like Forbidden Psalm and play a solo campaign. I talked about Forbidden Psalm as well. Weird, right? In an episode of Why I Like It sometime back, pachow, and that game is also a single PDF for like $13, or you can get the hardcover for $40. Really, the only time there's ever any kind of actual sunk cost problem in wargaming is if you play competitively and the tournament organizers have very specific rules about the models that you use when you play in their tournament. For example, if you play in a tournament for a specific game that's run by the company that makes the game, and of course the line of attached models that they sell, then you usually can't use other models from other companies. You have to use their stuff to play in their official events. They're running the event, it's their rules. But in every other situation, everything can be used everywhere, all at once. The big companies are always trying to keep you in their ecosystem. If you leave Xbox and go to PlayStation, you're going to have to rebuy all the games that you like to play. If you leave one camera brand and go to another one, you'll have to rebuy all the lenses that you like. You could buy an adapter technically, but sometimes that can cause other issues. But in wargaming, the big companies may try to keep you in their ecosystem, but you really hold all the power. So remember, in wargaming, sunk cost really is a fallacy. There's never wasted investment, money, or time in models and terrain. You can always use your tiny plastic people and vehicles and ruins in whatever game you like. There's so many games and models out there to try. Don't believe the hype from the big companies and their ecosystems. Build and paint and play what you like. I hope you liked this video, and I hope it helped you to feel better about your choices in the wargaming hobby. If you liked it, it'd really help the channel if you clicked that little like button down below, shared this video with people you think might need to hear it, and subscribe if you want to hear more from the channel every week. Thanks for watching.